everyone to yoga. Today I'm excited because we are going to be working towards compass pose, which is something that I have not practiced in quite a while. So I'm going to look probably a little rusty. That's okay. If you've got it down, more power to you. For those of you who are like me and don't practice it every single day, definitely have a strap handy so that you have a little bit of extra extension without sacrificing your position. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started today with some breathing. Since today's class is going to be pretty active in order to get us warmed up enough to finally get to that pose, we are going to start standing. So go ahead and start at the front of your mat. Hands can be in prayer, or you can open up the palms by your sides. Sometimes I like to start with the palms by my sides because it really allows me to think about creating length throughout my body. I really reach through the crown of my head, draw the shoulder blades down the back, pulling the shoulders away from the ears, and then reaching through the fingertips, trying to create a lot of energy out towards the ground. Eyes can be opened or closed here. If they're closed, feel all of the corners of your feet. Notice how you can shift a little bit back and forth, side to side, and you can still keep your balance even though the eyes are closed. It's kind of a nice way to start to feel grounded. If you haven't already, start to add the heat to that breath, practicing that ujjayi breath. That's going to be really, really critical today. We want to get a lot of heat in the body so that we can really stretch the legs without any injury. Breathe in all directions. Not just letting the front of the body expand, but think about filling up the back body with air as well. The lungs work in all directions. So make sure you practice breathing in all directions. Three more breaths here. Go ahead and let the eyes open and bring your hands to your heart. Big inhale towards the sky. And on your exhale, shift the hips to one side and then drop the hands to the other side, keeping the shoulders open. Maybe bringing the gaze past that arm towards the sky. Come back to center and then to the other side. Slowly starting to warm up the spine and open up the sides. You really need a nice long side body to get into compass. Come back to center, release the hands and dive forward, forward bend. If you need to on this first forward bend, you can soften the knees. And as you start to get warmer, start to straighten the legs, getting a little bit deeper into the hamstrings. On your next exhale, roll up one vertebrae at a time, squeezing the belly button to the spine to protect your back. Inhaling, shoulders high, and then exhale back to your mountain pose with really, really good posture. Hands come to your heart, and on an inhale, rise up to the sky. Exhale, dropping to one side. Right away, coming back to center, and then dropping to the other side. Back to center, and release, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release, and we're going to step back to our first flow, just stepping to plank, softening the knees to the ground if you need to, and coming all the way to the ground. Hands come right by your rib cage, and inhale up to cobra, activating the back, squeezing the shoulder blades together, and then pulling the shoulder blades down the back. Release, and push it up, flowing back to down dog. In down dog, let's take a few breaths to walk out our dog. So inhale, one heel to the ground. Exhale, the other. Try not to walk fast. Sometimes in class, I see people going like this. Let's really use a lot of purpose and focus as we move. Connecting to the breath right away, even in this easier pose. And on the inhale, sink both heels evenly to the ground, rolling the tailbone to the sky. If you need to, you can keep the knees bent in order to extend the tailbone. And on your next exhale, step forward, forward bend. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale. Exhale, half moon to either side. Inhaling, pushing the hip in the opposite direction for counterbalance. Exhale, center. And then release forward. Inhale, flatten the back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, go ahead and jump this time right into chaturanga if you'd like. Inhaling up, up dog. Exhale, shift back, down dog. And we're going to stay here for 3 breaths. You can walk your dog again if you'd like. You can play with just stretching out the toes if that feels good. Or if you want, you can also try coming up onto the knuckles of the toes, which is a little bit more difficult for me and my ankles, but that might feel good for you. Get a few pops. On your next inhale, come up onto the toes, soften the knees, and exhale forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale. Exhale, shifting to one side, opening up that side body, still keeping the shoulders, that top shoulder from rolling forward, back to center. Other side. Maybe bring the gaze towards the sky, challenge your balance, and then come back to center. Release the thumbs and dive forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release, and jump or step, flowing through your vinyasa. Finding your way to down dog. And let's go ahead and lift one foot, keeping the hips square to the ground, and reaching the heel towards the sky so that you're trying to create one straight line from your fingertips out through the heel. On your next inhale, shift forward back to plank. Maybe keep that foot lifted. And exhale through chaturanga. Inhaling up dog.
exhale, down dog. Opposite side, picking up the foot, hips stay square, making sure the fingertips are wide so that you have a nice solid base for the upper body as you push into the fingertips. On your next inhale, shift forward and exhale through your push-up or chaturanga into your back bend and then flowing to down dog. Let's stay here for 3 breaths. Let the shoulders relax away from the ears. Lots of openness down the sides of the body. And then a nice long tailbone. On the next inhale, come up onto the toes and exhale, jump or step forward. Inhaling, flat back. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, squeeze the belly button towards the spine as you bring the hands to your heart. Inhale. Exhale to one side. Right off the bat, back to center. Exhaling to the other side. Back to center and release, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release and jump or step, flowing through your vinyasa. This time we're going to pick up a foot, but instead of keeping the hips square, you're going to let the hips roll open and reach with that floating leg as high as you can towards the sky. So traditionally, we wouldn't normally let the hips roll open, but because eventually we're going to try to get into compass, I do want to start to open up the inside of the thighs a little bit more. On your next exhale, bring that foot all the way through, right in between the palms, and the back heel connects with the ground. Inhale, windmill the hands up, warrior 2. So in warrior 2, take a few moments to check your alignment. Your knee should be right on top of the ankle. Don't let it roll forward. Hips are open. A lot of times we have a tendency to collapse that back hip. Try to keep the hips open, reaching through the fingers as though you were doing your entire flow in between 2 walls. And you don't want to touch either wall on the side of your body. On your next exhale, go ahead and roll down. And inhale, step to plank, or keep the foot lifted. Flowing through your vinyasa. And coming back to down dog. Opposite foot floats up. Go ahead and shift from keeping the foot square to opening the hips. Even though the hips are open, continue to keep the shoulders square to the ground. Even weight in either hand. On an exhale, bring the foot through. Back heel to the ground. Windmill up. So if you look down at your ankle of the front foot and the arch of the back foot, they should be perpendicular to each other, one intersecting the other. And make sure that this front knee is not shifting over the toes. If it is, go ahead and walk those toes a little farther forward so you have enough space between your feet. On your next exhale, go ahead and windmill down and either step back to plank or keep that foot lifted as you flow through your vinyasa. 3 breaths here in down dog. On your next inhale, rise up onto the toes, and exhale, jump or step forward. Inhaling to half lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale. Exhale to one side. And come back to center. To the other side. Maybe using that bottom thumb for just a little bit of leverage. Back to center. Release and fold forward. Inhale, flatten the back, making the number 7 with the body. Release, and jump or step. Flowing through, chaturanga, back bend, and then down dog. Inhale, one foot comes up. Again, opening the hips, reaching through those floating toes. And on an exhale, bring it all the way through. Back heel to the ground, windmill up. Take a breath or two here. Find that good alignment. And then when you're ready, flip the front hand and reach down the back thigh. If you need to rest on the thigh, rest here or on the calf, but not on your knee. Try to put no pressure on your knee. On your next exhale, shift forward to extended side angle. So I encourage you to start with the elbow on the knee. Take a breath or two here and just fill up the side of your body with air. Get a little bit more length on that top side. And then if you feel comfortable, you can drop the hand to the ground, easing into the pose rather than pushing into the pose. If you can, look up. Make sure you can see past that top arm. If that's hard on your neck, you can always look to the ground. On your next exhale, use the core to come back to warrior 2. Inhale, and then exhale, flow down. Opposite foot floats up. Reach as high as you can, and then on an exhale, bring that foot through, and windmill up, warrior 2. On your next exhale, palm floats up, reach down the back leg, coming into reverse warrior, just for a breath or two. And then feel the length on this top side. Try to keep that length as you exhale and come to extended side angle. If you are on your elbow and you intend on staying on your elbow, make sure you're not sinking all of your weight into the elbow. The elbow is just barely touching on the knee. And then if you can, reach that hand towards the ground. I like to hold these peak poses for at least a few breaths. I know it's very challenging, but it allows you time to scan your body, check your alignment, make any tweaks if that's necessary. On your next exhale, come back to warrior 2. Big breath, sealing in the peak pose, and then exhaling, riding down through your chaturanga, up dog, and down dog. 3 breaths here. On your next inhale, shift onto the toes, and exhale, jump or step. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release. Release the head and neck. Inhale, no rush to come up. Exhale to your heart. Inhale. Exhale to one side. Back to center. And to the other side. Back to center. Release the thumbs and dive forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release and jump step. Flowing through until you come to down dog. When you're ready, bring one foot towards the sky. Hips are open. Let's go ahead and add a little bend in the knee just to open up the hip flexor of that floating leg a little more. On an inhale, extend it back to the sky, and then exhale, bring that foot all the way through. Inhale, and stay here for a full cycle of breath. On the next exhale, reaching back, reverse warrior just for a moment, taking that inhale, and then exhale, shifting forward. Extended side angle. Now, if you'd like, go ahead and try for the bind. So that back hand reaches behind your body, and the bottom hand slips through the legs, and hopefully you can grasp. Now, if you can't reach, that's fine. That's when your strap comes into play. So don't hesitate to grab your strap, dropping it behind the back, and then reaching below for that strap. That'll give you a little bit more space so you can roll the shoulder open. I see a lot of people trying for the bind and they look like this. And yes, it is easier to grab the hands, but you're losing all of the benefits of the pose. So until you can bring the shoulder open, feel free to grab a strap. Go ahead and release the bind. And on an exhale, come back to warrior two. Big inhale, exhale, roll down. And again, you can always keep that foot lifted for chaturanga, or both feet on the ground. Opposite side, lift the foot high, reach, 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 reach. And then maybe add a bend in the knee. Now, with the bend in the knee, we all have a tendency to open our shoulders too. For now, try to keep the shoulders square to the ground. Really open up the hip. On the inhale, extend. Exhale, bring the foot all the way through. Come up into warrior two. On an exhale, reaching back, reverse warrior, and then exhaling forward to extended side angle. Take at least one breath in extended side angle before you move on. But if you decide you're ready for the bind, reach that hand behind the back. A few shoulder pops there. And then bind right around the hip. Don't forget to use your strap if you need it. Roll the top shoulder open, maybe bring the gaze to the sky. And then when you're ready, gently release. And everyone exhales back, warrior two. Big inhale, exhale, roll down. And either keep that foot lifted or to plank as you come through chaturanga and then down dog. 3 breaths. On the next inhale, rise up onto the toes, look forward and jump or step. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale. Exhale to one side. Inhale to center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale, center. Release and dive forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward bend. And jump or step to chaturanga, flowing through to down dog. Inhale, one foot comes up. Maybe add the bend in the knee. And then right away, extend it back up. And bring that foot through. Starting with warrior two. On the exhale, just for a moment, reach back. And then extend that front leg. We're going to come into triangle. So keeping that length that you had on the top side, now the bottom side, coming in to triangle pose. Now if you need to, you can certainly grab your block as well. And use your block not only for support, but also for a little extra height. Now if you would like a challenge, most people teach triangle by reaching for the toe or the ground. Try to just float. Use your core strength to float. Not holding on to the calf or the shin or the ground or the block. Just using my strength. Go ahead and gently soften that knee and come into extended side angle. Maybe binding again. Maybe you stay here in extended side angle with the bind. Maybe you try binding triangle. Go ahead and soften the knee, release the bind, and on an exhale, use your core to come back up, warrior two. Big inhale, exhale, round down, and step to plank. Maybe keep that foot lifted as you flow through. Inhale, opposite foot comes up. Bending the knee. Yes, we're getting a little bit of openness in hip flexor, but the goal today is not about back bends, so we're not going to go into wild thing. Instead, use the weight and the leverage of that leg to help open up the inner thigh and hamstring of the standing leg. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bring that foot through. Warrior two first. On an exhale, shifting back, reverse warrior. Extending the front leg, keeping the length in the bottom side as you shift into triangle. Again, trying to float this bottom hand so that you're using your core strength to keep you upright rather than relying on a perch, with whether it's your shin or your block. When you're ready, soften that knee and come into extended side angle. So you can stay here, or you can try for the bind. Once you have the bind, roll that top shoulder open again. And then if you want a challenge, go ahead and extend the front leg, coming into a bound version of triangle. Very, very, very challenging. Definitely feel free to use your strap. The strap will give you a lot more space so that you can extend the leg without too much intensity, without collapsing your shape in order to bind. We want to really make sure we're keeping our shape. All right, on your next exhale, go ahead and bend the knee, release the hands, and then exhale, come back to warrior two. Deep inhale, exhale, round down. Inhaling up dog, exhaling down dog. And 3 breaths here. If you're like me and you're starting to get a lot of heat, which is really, really good, towel off, grab some water if you need it. I always need it from talking too much. All right, so on the next inhale, onto the toes, and then exhale, jump or step forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale. Exhale to one side. You should notice a huge difference in these side bends than you did at the very beginning of class. You should feel way more open and comfortable, really reaching hips in the opposite direction, back to center. Release and fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, roll down and jump or step right through chaturanga. Inhaling, up dog. Exhaling, down dog. Inhale, one foot comes up. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip, drive the standing heel to the ground. Inhale, extend. Exhale, bring that foot through. Windmilling the hands up, taking a breath, making sure everything's aligned, and then exhaling, reverse warrior. Extend the front leg, and on an exhale, triangle. Just for a breath. Right away, bending that knee and going into the bind. Now, if you've struggled with the bind, absolutely grab your strap for this next piece because we're gonna hop that front foot forward and actually shift to the center of my mat. And we're gonna try to come up for birds of paradise. So you can see how that would be substantially easier with the strap. Same idea without too much of the intensity of the bind. And if that's too much and you still want to practice balance, you can always just pick up the knee. You don't have to be bound. If you are bound, or whatever variation you might be in, go ahead and come back down to the ground, release the bind, extended side angle, and then exhale, warrior two. Inhale to seal everything in, and then exhale, round down, and flow through. Opposite foot comes up on the inhale. Exhale, bend the knee. And then right away, extend. Exhale, bring that foot through. Oh, hello. Are you gonna help me today? Come up to warrior two. And on an exhale, reverse the warrior. Extending that front leg and exhaling to triangle. Just
Pop that foot forward. Do it however you need to. You can take 20 hops if you need to. Ooh. Okay. Thought I had it, didn't have it. Once you fall out of it, it's really hard to get back into it from standing. So go ahead and come into extended side angle again. Find that bind. And then try to get your balance. Once you've got your balance, extend the leg. Soften the knee. Gently step it back to the ground and step that other leg behind. Roll the shoulders open, extended side angle, and then on an exhale, warrior two. Inhale, exhale, round down. Flow through your vinyasa, or skip it, go right to down dog. And let's breathe here for 3 breaths. Hello, buddy. On your next inhale, come up onto the toes and jump or step forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Go ahead and step sideways on the front of your mat, and then take a big old step to the other side. Inhale, open up the heart. Exhale, not closing the heart, just bringing the hands heart center. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more like that. This time on your inhale, keep the hands open, heart open, exhale, fold forward. Bring your hands to the inside of your feet and bring the feet so that they're parallel with either side of the mat. Bend one knee and sink as deeply as you feel comfortable without moving the feet side to side, so without creating more width or less width. Maybe you really have flexible ankles and so you can almost sit your rear end towards the ground. Maybe this is enough. Go ahead and walk over to the other side. Come back to center and release towards the ground. Maybe bring the hands to the outside edges of the feet and start to pull the crown of the head towards the ground. Now, if you're really close to touching the ground and you're not quite there, you can always walk the feet out just a little bit further. And then if it's in your practice to do a headstand, feel free to start to shift the hips up. Not very good at talking and doing that. But shift the hips up and then come up onto the toes. Roll your weight so that you're stacked and start to bring the legs together. And then with as much control as you can, try to come back down. The more control on the way down that you have, the stronger that you'll be and the more comfortable you'll be on the way up. So for those of you who are still folded, or maybe you're still in your headstand, come down to a wide-legged fold. If you need to, walk the ankles in just a little bit closer.
And then inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Go ahead and step your feet back together at the front of your mat and face the front once again. Inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release. And gently step to plank. Open the knees wide, and we're going to give ourselves just a little bit of a break before we start to go into our more intense leg openers. So from child's pose, go ahead and come up onto all fours, and you're going to bring one leg in front so that you're pretty much making 90-degree angles with your back leg and your front leg. Might be just a little bit more than 90 degrees, but we're not going for the low lunge here. So first, go ahead and pick up that front leg and maybe extend it out. You're resting on your tricep. So grab your strap because you're going to need it. Or if you're anything like me, you're going to need it. And go ahead as a preemptive, bring it around the foot and around your neck just so that it's available, okay? So from here, pick up that foot and reach with the strap and start to open up. Okay, so traditionally it's done on the outside of the arm. That's really hard for me, I'll be honest. It's way too challenging for me, so I'm going to do it on the inside. And of course my back knee is not happy, so I'm gonna pad it up a little bit more. Okay, so from here, instead of keeping it on that outside, I'm gonna keep it on the inside. I'm gonna grab my blocks, I have a little bit more space, and I'm gonna open up like this. Now if you want something a little bit in between, you can't go on the outside of the leg, at least not yet, but you also want a little bit more of a challenge, try it inside plank. Whew. There you go. It's just not yoga until you've fallen. I have to say that was one of my more graceful falls. Okay, so come into side plank and open it up that way. Go ahead and release and come back either to plank or to all fours or to child's pose. Take a break. All right, so for those of us who are going to try it first on the outside edge, which I recommend you do, try it. What's going to happen? You can't do it? Okay, well we've got some solutions for that, right? So start by bringing everything, all fours, hand to the inside. Go ahead and lift it up first. Maybe that went well. And you want to grab your strap. Probably should have used the block on the other side. That would have been helpful. See, totally not flexible enough to do it on that side. That's okay. So we're going to do it the other way, on the inside. Oh, look at me not tip over that time. That's awesome. Good, come back to plank. plank, all fours, and then let's everybody come to child's pose. Go ahead and push yourself back to an upright position, and then sit down with your legs crossed in front. So you can start with crossed legs, or you can come into half lotus, or with the shins stacked on top of each other, which is what I prefer. It's the most comfortable for me. Take a big inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Go ahead and walk your hands to one side. And then walk them over to the other side. Avoid your stinky foot if at all possible. Come back to center. And then walk yourself back up to upright. So take that top leg, and we're gonna bring it up and cradle it like a baby. So the knee goes in the elbow, the foot goes in the other elbow, interlock the fingers, and take a big inhale, reaching the crown of the head towards the sky, pulling the shoulders away from the ears. And you'll notice the taller you sit, the more intense this is. Go ahead and give yourself a couple of rocks back and forth. And then take that foot, so it's more parallel with the front of your mat, and bring your other hand inside. So the same arm is on the inside or the back of the knee of the floating leg. And this is when you might want to grab your strap. Oh, I remember the days when I used to be able to do this without a strap. Yep, those were the good old days. So go ahead and give yourself a couple of rocks here, opening up that hip more towards your side, and then release the hand towards the ground and extend the foot out. So as you can see, I'm quite far away from being able to grab my foot, but I would rather be able to open up the heart and extend the leg all the way than doing something like this. At least this gives me the right alignment, even if it's not the full version of the pose. Go ahead and release. Take your strap off, maybe give yourself a couple of knee shakes, and then other side. Come into a seated position, cross-legged, half lotus, or with your shins stacked. Inhale and exhale. Go ahead and fold forward. Walk your hands over to one side. Feel the side body expand. Walk yourself over to the other side, avoiding the foot. Unless you're in feet, you know, whatever, you do you. Maybe you just got a really nice pedicure. I could appreciate that. Go ahead and bring yourself back to center. And then walk yourself up to upright. Again, you're going to start by cradling that foot.
Once it's cradled, first sit up nice and tall as you can. Notice if this side is different. Does it feel more challenging, less challenging to sit up straight? Go ahead and rock side to side, loosening up the hip a little bit. And then grab your foot with that hand. Same hand as the leg goes on the inside. And again, grab your strap. I don't know, we'll see how this side goes. It feels a little bit more open, but that might just be false hope. Extend the hand for balance and extend the leg. Oh yes, much, much closer on this side. I wonder if, da-da-da-da! See, everybody is different. Every side is different. This might be your bad side. I wouldn't say that this is my good side, but it's definitely better, isn't it? And release. Go ahead and set your strap to one side. We won't be needing it anymore. Extend the legs out. Give yourself a little bounce, whatever feels good. And then roll over onto your back with your head facing the top of your mat. And we're just going to give a little relaxing love to the hips. So walk your feet out so that they are the same width as your mat. And windshield wiper nice and slowly the knees to either side. So take a full cycle of breath on either side. A full cycle of breath is both the inhale and the exhale, or exhale and inhale, depending on where you land. Go ahead and make it a little bit bigger, reaching your gaze the opposite direction. And then this time, shift the knees over and pick up the outside knee or outside ankle and gently place it on top of the knee for just a little bit more stretch. You should feel this more in your hip flexor and maybe your obliques rather than in your spine itself. Release that cross. Opposite side, maybe picking up the ankle and resting it on the knee. Release the ankle and knees come back up towards the sky. Go ahead and bring the knees towards the outside edge, or the outside of the ribs, and then the feet towards the sky for happy baby. So resist rocking side to side. First, I want you to just roll the tailbone towards the ground, trying to connect the entire spine with the ground. And that might be pretty challenging for you. If it's not challenging for you and you want a little bit more, just put a little bit more pressure on the feet, gently pulling the knees towards the ground. So from here, go ahead and switch your grip from the outside edge of each foot to a yogi toe lock and extend one leg. Should feel really, really open in the hamstring and the inner thighs. Bend that knee and extend the other leg. Bend that knee, and then you can stay here, opening up the hips, or you can extend both legs and instead open up the hamstrings. Soften the knees and bring the soles of the feet together, wrapping the hands around the soles of the feet, and then roll the tailbone towards the ground
And let the weight of the feet and the hands pull the shoulders away from your ears. Lengthen out the back of the neck. Release your hold on the feet and extend the legs out, coming into Shavasana. So relax the legs, let them roll open, relax the shoulders, let the fingers be soft and curl. And before you sink into that wonderfully relaxing Shavasana, I want you to take a moment to reflect on your practice today. What did you learn? Building your way to compass is challenging. We did a lot of challenging poses today. Birds of Paradise is challenging. Compass itself, of course, is challenging. What did you learn? For me, I learned that it is okay to laugh at yourself. I was quite amused by my unexpected tumble out of side plank. But it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to fall. And it's okay to laugh and find it humorous rather than being upset with yourself. The only real way to progress in yoga is to fall, is to do it wrong and mess it up and make it not be beautiful the first time. That's okay. That's the journey through the poses. So whatever your reflection is, go ahead and take a deep breath and release that thought. Let the face relax, and with it, let the mind clear. And just rest peacefully for a few moments in Shavasana. Start to reawaken the body. Wiggle the fingers and wiggle the toes. Give yourself a couple of ankle and wrist circles. And then when you're ready, roll over onto one side. You can stay in Shavasana for as long as you'd like, but if you're ready, slowly wake your way up to a comfortable seated position. Thank you all for joining me today. Thank you for laughing and falling with me. I hope you enjoyed this class. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.